Hey, everybody, and welcome to another 5-Minute Friday. My name is Jade Alberts, an ambassador here at Startup TNT and founder of Peer Guidance. And I am excited about our conversation today with Alex, the CEO of Arbor, a company that we invested in with Thin Air Labs. And we were joking a little bit before, I'm going to be there. I should have been there actually sitting beside Alex doing this live, but Arbor is a social, environmental and social data sets enabling companies to measure, improve, and showcase the sustainability of their products. So Alex, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure, and I'm excited to do this. Kind of waiting to see what you got to throw my way.
What? Nothing. There's no surprises. We never come up with anything random here at Startup TNT, right?
Highly doubt it.
No, exactly. Actually, I should actually literally be walking in there behind you and saying, hey, let's do this live.
We're doing this live.
Really doing it live. Like, come on. That's a bad planning on my part. So why don't we get after it? Why don't you tell us about Arbor, how you founded it, and why?
So Arbor, in short, basically, like, we built this big product engine that, like you said, takes data from environmental and social standpoints, and then it helps increase profits for brands, but also helps them save the planet at the same time. So you're like, okay, this is too good to be true, but like, I assure you, it's possible. Basically, like, our data provides companies the ability, like you said, to measure, improve, and showcase the sustainability of their products. And then we help them become more sustainable and capture an increasing market demand of, sustainable, conscious consumers, but also help them kind of deal with like the regulations that are coming in their regions, which there are many regulations in terms of sustainability that are coming down. Why we did this? So actually, like, it's myself and 3 other co-founders, so there's 4 of us in total. And before this, we were running a company called 99bits, which was like a software development firm. And so we were running that for about like 8 to 9 months. It was basically like, we wanted to run our own company, but like, what was the easiest way to do that and get the most learning? Let's just like build projects for other people and get money for it. And we learned a lot about like what it took to incorporate and like what it took to like run a business and all these things like that. And then we were doing that up until a pandemic, and the pandemic hit for the first time, and it was like, everything that we were working on got canceled basically because no one knew what was going on. Like, no one knew, it was like postponed indefinitely, blah, blah. And so we're like, well, we could either sit on our asses and do nothing, or like we could start like playing around with some stuff. And we always wanted to work on something like a product and release it, a software product, but like do something that had like a massive global impact. And like, that was the best thing that we could do. We knew how to work with was like big, large sets of data. Came across this thing called ESG. At that time, it actually, like, you could look on Google Trends, and ESG was like super unknown at that period of time. And then if you follow Google Trends, it like up till now, it has grown exponentially. So like, it's been really, really good for our company in terms of like awareness of what's called sustainability and whatnot.
And I think it's pretty cool. I remember seeing your company for the first time through the TNT Summit, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But, I got it. I mean, it's sitting right up here on my bookmark bar. I go there, I go to Amazon. But, rather than me trying to tell people how it works, why don't you just give us a quick little breakdown?
So actually, like, what we're focused on is delivering our data to brands themselves. The things that we did before, in terms of like, the very first thing we did was like release a browser extension that was usable by consumers. And that was basically like us as like, what is the quickest way that we can test the impact of this data on consumers real time? And so we got like 1,200 downloads pretty quick. And it was, people genuinely enjoyed using, understanding like the brands they were looking at. But the whole end goal of that was like, here's a test case now that we have that like proves that this data is valuable to consumers and it helps them make decisions, and it drives decisions. And then we took that data and are now basically packaged it into a dashboard that companies can use to quickly understand the impacts of their products on like a CO2 level, waste level, water level. And then be able to, if there's, ones that are performing well, they can show that off to their consumers immediately by just like clicking a button and it would just show off on the product itself being like, verified by Arbor that it is low in emissions, whatever it is.
And now you've been traveling the world, started with a little raise here. Obviously, James and Thin Air Labs are a big backer. So how has that been going? Oh, did you lose me?
Sorry, I just like lagged out super hard. Yeah, I think it's me.
Oh, well, I'll ask the question again. Can you hear me now? Can
Yeah,
you
I
hear me
think so.
now?
I think it caught up. My bad.
Oh, no worries. I was like, so you entered the Startup TNT Summit. You obviously you came in there, you got a raise, you've got some an investment from Thin Air Labs. So why don't you talk about the TNT Summit, that the investment from Thin Air, and kind of where where you're going from there for more funds.
So the TNT Summit, actually around that time was when we were executing our first raise. We had Thin Air as like our lead in the round, but we saw the summit as an opportunity to be like, hey, Alberta, like this is us, here we are kind of thing. We felt confident with what we were bringing to the table. And we felt like we could go far, especially with James backing us. But winning TNT was like, or like being part of TNT gave us a lot more exposure to like the rest of Alberta, and it came in like a great time in terms of like us trying to close that initial raise. But beyond that, like we're actually just working on closing another raise now, our second one. I think we'll be able to I know we'll be able to make some announcements pretty soon here, but we've been talking to a lot of firms across the world, like across Europe, across the States, some Canadian as well. And it's really been like a kind of like an evolutionary process of like taking what we learned in the first round and applying it on like a global scale.
That's a pretty cool story, right? You're one of the, a lot of companies through the TNT have gone on to further raises, but having you and knowing where you're going and seeing your updates that are great and where you have to go and stay and sleep and things like that. Well, we won't dive into that. That's a whole new podcast right there.
Yeah, how I ended up in Norway one time.
Exactly. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
But so, I mean, now you guys are on, you've got, you're adding to your team, you've got some good partners, you've got some funds. What's next?
So we've been like the last couple months, like November and December have been probably the biggest months for our company. Just a lot of things have happened. We're working on right now on closing a bunch of partnerships and new clients. So we'll have like a lot of exciting stuff to honestly announce over the next little bit on our channels. And then as well, just closing up this round right now.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. So I guess our last question here for you is, we're having a life sciences now, and we've just opened up our clean tech, and then of course we get into our two regular summits. So if you had one piece of advice for a startup thinking about or sitting on the fence there to join the TNT Summit, what would that be?
I would just do it. Like, I don't know. When I saw it pop up, yeah, like when I saw it pop up, I think it was that summer, the applications were coming in. Like, I was like, this looks cool. Like, I applied, and then I wasn't sure if we were going to get contacted or not. And then we did. And at that point, I was like, yeah, I have a good feeling that, like we could go far in this competition. But like, I would just, if you're looking to do like, let's say an earlier round, like 100%, the things that we learned in terms of like the due diligence phase and stuff like that, like you guys did DD to a point of exhaustion at some points, like, and like we learned a lot. That was the whole thing. Yeah. It was like, it got us prepared and it helped us get our shit together basically for like the next upcoming rounds. And like, I think any company would learn a lot going through like the summit process.
No, that's good. That's good advice. And I agree, right? I mean, sometimes, the DDs can drag on a little bit, but you know what? It's important. And
it's, the thing was like, we had never experienced up until that point, like a DD process like that. And like, it just got us more prepared. Like going into the rest of the round was like cake after that.
Well, that's good. Hey, yeah. That's and we really are, right? We want to be that first stage. We're there for them. We're, helping the employees, whatever it be. Some of them don't know what a data room is, and
exactly.
away you go, right? So it's a very easy and comfortable way to learn. So thanks for sharing that story with us. And if anybody ever wants to, check you guys out, where can they go?
You can just look up Arbor DB on any of the channels. So like LinkedIn, Instagram. We're pretty active on socials actually. Like, and you can go to arbordb.com. We write like our content team writes a lot of really awesome sustainability pieces. Like they will actually just like ninjas go and interview people and like get like the real facts on the ground from these places. So I'm pretty proud of what the kind of stuff that we been able to pump out. arbordb.co.
Co. Perfect. And obviously we're extremely proud that you're another Alberta success story and representing what's going on here in our ecosystem out there. So keep on being awesome, Alex. And and thanks for spending 5 minutes with us.
Thank you. You guys as well. Keep on being awesome. Keep doing what you're doing.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your day. And everybody, we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.